podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ring Around the Rosie. I'm your host, Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady. Here we are. It is the day before Thanksgiving and in America. And this is the time of year when you have all kinds of things happening at the same time. You have, in certain parts of the country, you have football games and all kinds of crazy things happening and parades and, all this stuff going on. And, of course, you have Thanksgiving with your family, usually. I mean, not everybody celebrates with their family for whatever reason. But, a lot of people, it's a time of year when you see people you haven't seen, all year. And you're supposed to be thankful for things. And I have a lot that I'm thankful for, and I'm not going to go through the whole list of it. I mean, I'm thankful for the people in my life who are important to me. I'm thankful for my guy, because he's awesome. I'm thankful for my family, and I am thankful that this year's Survivor Series is done, and I never have to watch it again. Side thing about me, I am Catholic. I am Irish and grew up in Massachusetts, and I'm Catholic. What a surprise. But I like to think that I am a very open-minded person. If you're not Catholic, I don't have a problem with you at all. If you're a Jewish person, or you're a person that is, worships Islam, or, is a member of the Islamic faith, or, any other faiths that are out there, if you're, Hindu or Buddhist or whatever, if you worship the flying spaghetti monster, that's your deal. And, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, I'm like totally fine with other people's religions, which is why I say I bring all this up, because insert your favorite deity here. That show was horrible. Survivor Series was the biggest waste of time, except for 2 matches. 2 out of 4 hours. 4 hours! And I mean, granted, some of that was the preliminary stuff and blah, blah, blah. But for 4 hours? 4 hours of my life that I am not going to be able to get back unless somebody knows Doctor Who's number and, can call me up the Doctor and the TARDIS so I can hop in that little blue box and go back, to Sunday night and say, no, don't do it. Don't watch this show. Do something else. Do anything else. Because, sweet Caroline, this show. Wow. If there was ever any doubt that, a lot of people are always like, oh, everyone's so hard on the WWE. They do listen to their fans, blah, 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 etc., and so on and so forth. The next time somebody tells me that, I'm going to stick this show in their face and go, oh, really? It just seemed like the whole purpose of this show. Now, I might be being overly harsh here. I might be being overly critical. I might be, dare I say, even paranoid, to say it this way. This show seemed to the sole purpose of this show and the following evening's Raw and SmackDown, which I'm not going to review anymore. I've just decided that I'm not going to bother reviewing them because there's enough people out there talking about them that do a better job than I do. It just seemed this whole show, the purpose of it was to piss off the internet. the internet wrestling community, which Vince McMahon and company have had a serious mad-on about, pretty much ever since Al Gore invented the internet. Hashtag sarcasm. But wow. Okay, let's go through this. I mean, as you know, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be down and dirty. Just, you know. So we had the preliminary match, the pre-show match, which was an old school 10-on-10 elimination match. It was a tag team elimination match. So if one person from your team got pinned, you both had to leave, or all three of you had to leave in one case, because fuck rules, I guess. I don't know. So we had Team SmackDown, which was made up of Jimmy and Jay Uso, the Usos. The New Day, the members of the New Day competing in the match being Big E and Xavier Woods, with Kofi Kingston on the outside with plates of pancakes, some of which were blue again. I'm like, well, I get the whole blue thing, you know, blue's SmackDown's color and all this stuff like that. What? Oh, man, I'm sorry. I really don't know why the blue pancakes... No, I do know why the blue pancakes irritate me. They look like crushed Smurfs. There, I said it. I'm not sorry. The other members of Team SmackDown were Sanity, Eric Young and Killian Dane from that group. Yeah, because I'd want those guys on my team. Let's see who we can put on our team. We've got these guys and these guys and these guys. Oh, let's put the guys that look like they're part of the End of the World militia on our team. That'll bring in the kids. Ugh. Also on SmackDown's team was Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and the Colognes, Epico Colon and Primo Colon. Okay. I didn't know they still worked there. Also, Alexander Wolf was outside for Sanity, so let's get all the crazy looking people, because, you know, we don't want to piss them off. Going against Team Raw, which was made up of Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Have we come up with a name for this team yet? Because if we have, I don't know what it is. And the Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Pardon me while I contain my enthusiasm. The B team of Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Would someone please explain to me why this team is over? Please! I mean, other than the fact that Bo Dallas is handsome. You know, there. I said it. I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge. The Lucha House Party, Lince Dorado, and originally Kalisto, but Kalisto got hurt, so they substituted Grand Metallic because reasons. And the Ascension, Connor and Victor, still not as good as the Road Warriors and never will be. The match was your, standard 10-on-10 kind of thing, with the Usos being the sole survivors and winding up getting the win, and also having a nice tribute to Roman Reigns during their the last couple of moves of the match, with the whole fist cocking the gun back and all that stuff like that. With Jimmy Uso getting the win. Using the Uso Splash on Scott Dawson from the Revival. So we have the winners of the pre-show being Team SmackDown, with Jimmy and Jay Uso as the sole survivors. And that was a really good match, and it was really nice to see SmackDown win. Capture that like a fly in amber, folks, because it's going to be the last time you see it tonight. And man, is that going to get shoved down our throats. Okay, moving on to the actual show, because 22 minutes of wrestling apparently isn't real, I guess, or doesn't count. Whatevs. I mean, does that mean Kalisto's really not hurt? That would be nice. But anyway. So, we are starting off the show with the 5-on-5 women's elimination match, with Team Raw, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Bayley, and Sasha Banks, with Alexa Bliss in their corner as the team captain of Raw. Yahoo! Originally, there was a shakeup even before it got started, because part of Team Raw's team, that's hard to say, was Natalya and Ruby Riott. And because of the Riot Squad's desecration of the glasses that allegedly belonged to Jim Neinhart, Natalia's dad, late father, putting these two on a team didn't work out. I'm so shocked. In other news, water is wet, the sun is hot, and I have a teeny crush on Jared Padalecki. Again, hashtag sarcasm. And they were going against Team SmackDown with team captain Naomi and the other members of her team, Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Mandy Rose. So this was, it was a good match. I'm not saying it wasn't, because all these ladies are really, great. Well, not all of them. Oh man, I hate doing this, but I'm going to. Am I going to climb on the bandwagon that everybody's been screaming and howling about since the incident occurred? Kinda. The end of the match involved, by the end of it, the final elimination was Asuka, who was eliminated by Nia Jax delivering a Samoan drop. So the surviving team was Team Raw, with Nia Jax being the person to get the pin. Okay. This was the first moment I was going, oh, everybody grab the bedpost. It's going to be another night of screwing. Obviously, everybody and their dog knows about what happened previously on Raw, where they had the whole Raw, the Raw women's team, and, defending themselves against the invading SmackDown team, headed up by Becky Lynch. And everybody saw Nia unload a punch on Becky that gave her a concussion and broke her nose. And I have to be perfectly honest, that was one of the most fucking nasty, sloppy, what the fuck just happened punches I have ever fucking seen in my entire life. And now, obviously, after this happened, a lot of people started to scream, holler, yell, and basically have complete shit fits, saying Nia should be fired, Nia should be this, Nia should be that, Nia's a fat bitch, blah, blah, blah. Okay, calling Nia a fat bitch only proves that you're an asshole. You can say that she's unprofessional. You can say that she needs to go back to development. You can say all that stuff. You can call her a fat bitch if you want to, but I think that's, if that's the best you can come up with, instead of actually focusing on the problem, which apparently is the fact that she has a history of injuring people because she was brought up too quickly and needs to go back to development and get a little bit more seasoned. You could say that, but since that's too hard for some people to say, they just want to call her a fat bitch. Can I also bring up, for the most part, these people who call her things like that, if they were in a room with her, probably wouldn't open their fucking mouths because they'd be too busy pissing themselves. Oh wait, pissing yourself comes later. I'm not saying that I'm happy with Nia. I am not happy. I am not happy with the fact that they turned this into an angle and now she's this big badass heel. Ooh, look what I did to Becky Lynch, who is also a heel, so it doesn't make any fucking sense anyway. But what bothers me is this is setting, and I realize some people are about to go, when did you become everybody's mom? I haven't. I'm actually nobody's mom, unless you count Fred, the rubber duck who lives in my purse, and he doesn't call me mom. But he's the closest thing I have to something I take care of. This is setting a shit example for little kids. And there are little kids who watch wrestling. Little kids. And how I feel about that, I honestly don't know anymore. But my point being, this is setting an absolutely shit example. Because Nia did something stupid. Nia did something stupid for real. This wasn't part of it was part of the storyline that SmackDown went and attacked Raw, and Raw fought back, and blah, blah, blah. And it was part of the storyline that Nia was probably supposed to hit Becky. Where stuff went wrong, I'm not in Nia's head. I don't know. But bad behavior is not supposed to be rewarded. Bad behavior is supposed to be looked at as bad behavior, and you're supposed to face the consequences of said, and you're supposed to have something bad happen to you, damn it. It's called karma. For the WWE to give the win to Nia is sending the worst message possible. It's sending the message that being the bully pays off. And that sucks. And that's a shit message to send to people. Just my take on it, for what it's worth. The next match was Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins versus United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, this is one of the actual bright spots on this show. This was a great match. Really enjoyed it. A lot of back and forth between these guys. Although, to be perfectly honest, I really was expecting Dean Ambrose to show up at some point or another. I was like, okay, he's going to show up at the end of the match. He's going to cost Seth the belt. Okay, that's not what's going to happen. Seth won. Okay, so he's going to show up after Seth wins and beat on him because he's a heel and blah, blah, blah. No, we're not going to get that either. Okay. No, we don't get either of those things. We don't get Dean being the bad guy there. We get Dean the next night on Raw, and he's not being a bad guy, he's being a fucking prick. I mean, look, I understand the whole, bringing real life into stuff is edgy, and it's, blah, 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 and all this other stuff like that. Fuck that noise. Fuck it. And fuck the writers for coming up with it. And to be perfectly honest, fuck Dean Ambrose for going along with it. I'm sorry, no. The whole thing about, almost blaming Roman Reigns for the fact that he got leukemia. I mean, that all the things he's done in the past, blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. Do you know how many people get cancer and they're innocent people who've done nothing wrong? So you're sending the message that people who get life-threatening diseases did something bad, and that's why they have life-threatening diseases? Fucking really? What kind of fucking shit is that? I'm sorry, that fucking no. Fuck off, writers. Seriously, fuck off. I mean, I know you're trying to make Dean the heel and all this stuff like that and talking about running down the fans and all this stuff like that and whatever. It's like there's a difference between being a heel and being a fucking prick. And, I'm sorry. I mean, I could still boo Dean Ambrose, but now I'm like, fuck it. I don't even want to watch this guy on TV anymore. A lot of people have brought up a really good thing, just jumping back to the whole Nia Jax thing. Quite a few people online have brought up, if you want to show your displeasure at the way they're booking Nia, don't boo her, don't yell at her, don't say anything. And I kind of feel like that's what should happen with Dean Ambrose. Don't boo him, just don't do anything. Just sit there and sit on your hands, or get up and turn around and chant bingo, whatever. But you have to show that you don't like something. If you don't show that you don't like something, they're gonna keep doing it. I mean, granted, sometimes we have shown we don't like something and they keep doing it. But, whatever. Following that was the tag team match. I'm assuming that, I don't know if it was for the belts or not. I don't think people could go for the belts because there was, champions on either side. You had the Raw Tag Team Champions, AOP, the authors of Pain, Akam, and Razor, going with their manager, Drake Maverick, going against the Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, who have the Big Show in their corner because Big Show turned heel again. Seriously, that would be if you were old enough to drink, that would be a great drinking game. If you did a career retrospective of the Big Show, take a drink every time Show turned face or turned heel. I'm only suggesting that if you're old enough to drink. And actually, I wouldn't suggest doing it with alcohol because you'd probably kill yourself from alcohol poisoning because Show has turned face, heel, like more times than I've had hot dinners. So, good match. Everybody involved was, trying their best. I mean, it was a great match from all the people involved, but the whole thing comes to a crashing halt when Drake Maverick gets involved, runs away, runs smack into the Big Show, and Big Show picks him up basically effortlessly because Drake Maverick is a teeny little man compared to the Big Show. Of course, most men are teeny little men compared to the Big Show. And he puts Maverick on the apron. I don't know what they were going to have him do, like push him backwards into the ring or something. I don't know. But all of a sudden, Maverick kind of looks like, and he's pissed his pants. And apparently everybody thinks this is fucking hilarious because everybody is a 5th grade boy. I'm sorry, but, I gotta be honest, guys, that did not look to me like somebody pissing their pants. That looked to me, at first, it looked to me like somebody doing something else with their dick, and I'm not talking about pissing. This distraction winds up getting the pin for the AOP, and they wind up winning the match because reasons. It's a great example of another good match with people that work really hard, and all people are going to remember is Drake Maverick pissed himself. Let's sigh. Anyway, moving forward, we have a match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship with the champion Buddy Murphy going against Mustafa Ali in what was the one of the only matches on this show that I was like, man, this is good. I enjoyed this match all the way through. Amazing work from both guys. They left it all out there in the ring, man. It was nuts. It was completely crazy, awesome match that ended with Buddy Murphy winning, getting the pin, keeping his belt. On a personal level, pardon my cough, on a personal level, I just would like to make this statement. Damn, Mustafa Ali is one handsome man. There, I said it. Not sorry. Next is the 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match with Team Raw, which is made up of Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre. Sorry. I really need to stop doing that joke. That's not nice. It's funny, but it's not nice. Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley. They are accompanied to the ring by Lio Rush, Bobby Lashley's, I don't know what, I'd rather not dwell on it, and Baron Corbin, who is the acting general manager of Raw and Stephanie McMahon's biatch, going against Team SmackDown, which is made up of The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and the best in the world, Shane McMahon. Once again, hashtag sarcasm. So much sarcasm. Now, this was the kind of a match that it was, oh man, I wanted to like this. I really did. Because there's so many people, there's quite a few people in this match I actually like. I like Jeff Hardy. I'm afraid of Jeff Hardy, but I like him. I like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, I'm so glad Rey Mysterio is back. I think he's awesome. And I've missed him a lot. I adore Finn Balor. And I think Braun Strowman's pretty cool. That's mostly because of a story I heard about him outside of the ring interacting with fans, and I was all like, oh. But he's really cool. I like him. He's, big, strong dude, throws people around. What's wrong with that? I was a little bit irritated that I was excited about Finn being in this match. But when Finn came down to the ring, I was like, oh, okay. he's not the Demon King. Why? I just kind of was like, I mean, not that it's a letdown. I mean, it's not that much of a letdown. Tiny letdown. I like cosplay. Sue me. But, and Finn Balor crawling on the ground with that whole thing is just hot. But, I was excited to see Finn anyway because he's just awesome. This was won again by Raw. Do you see a pattern forming here? With the last surviving members of Raw being Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, with Shane McMahon being the last member of Team SmackDown after The Miz tagged him in after getting him to do all this crazy shit that Shane McMahon does because it's Shane McMahon. And then when it was Miz's turn to get his ass handed to him, he just bailed, which I was like, oh, surprise, surprise. But, and so Braun gave one running power slam later from Braun Strowman, and Shane McMahon gets pinned. So the winners are, as I said, Team Raw. The final members of Team Raw that were left being Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. And after the match was done, Baron Corbin and the other members of Team Raw began beating the living shit out of Braun because they're heels and they're assholes. So, and because Braun Strowman is going to murder Baron Corbin at one, because he did speak to Stephanie and said, as long as I don't touch Baron Corbin, I get to have him in a match, and I get to choose the stips, and I get a match against Brock Lesnar. And Stephanie's all like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, as long as you don't touch him before Survivor Series gets done. So the second the match gets over with, Corbin shows what a cowardly bitch he is by jumping on Braun from the back. Nice. Anyway, I don't know. There was something about it. The whole dynamic of having heels and faces on the same team, it's like, this is such a stupid idea. Storyline-wise, it's stupid because, they want to be all like, oh, well, they have to put aside their differences and work together. And that never fucking works. And then the announcing team has the fucking nerve to act surprised that it doesn't fucking work. It's never fucking worked. It's never going to fucking work. I say fucking a lot, don't I? Oh, well, fuck it. Moving forward, we have the women's match that was originally going to be Ronda Rousey going against Becky Lynch. But thanks to Nia Jax and a misplaced fist and the concussion and broken nose, we get Ronda Rousey going against Charlotte Flair. Not that that's a bad thing, because, Charlotte Flair's an amazing wrestler, and, Although, to be perfectly honest, when Ronda came out, the crowd booed. When Charlotte came out, the crowd booed. So the crowd at the Staples Center in Los Angeles apparently didn't know who to cheer for, and they were pissed off because Becky wasn't there, which they made abundantly clear by chanting Becky all night. Yeah, that's not wicked disrespectful to the people in the ring busting their ass. No, you want to chant for someone physically can't be there. Classy. And this was on its way to being a really good match between these two ladies. Charlotte's got a more refined style than Ronda because, Ronda's used to just going out there and shredding people. The thing is, Charlotte was getting frustrated, and the next thing you know, there's kendo sticks, and she's beating the living shit out of Ronda with the kendo sticks, and anything else she can get her hands on, including when the referees tried to pull her off of Ronda. Charlotte beat up about 5 referees and got fined a nice chunk of cake from Paige on SmackDown on Tuesday night. So Raw wins again because Charlotte was disqualified for losing her fucking shit and beating the fucking crap out of Ronda with everything but the kitchen sink. Now, the thing that bothered me, and now, freedom of expression and freedom of speech are great. I'm not saying they're not. I'd never say they're not. The problem is that people think freedom of speech gives you the right to be an asshole. And it actually kind of does. But it also gives me the right to say, hey, you're being an asshole. When the beating that Ronda was taking from Charlotte, and you get these people out there chanting, thank you, Charlotte, and absolutely booing the shit out of Ronda, I'm just sitting there going, yeah, stay classy, Los Angeles. Gosh. It's like they're so bitter and angry out there. I can't think why they'd be so upset, world champion Red Sox. Oh, that might be part of it. Oops. It's not our fault the Dodgers suck. Anyway, going on to the final match of the evening, which was the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. No, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to hurt my voice. With his advocate, Paul Heyman. I don't understand how what is he advocating for, Brock? I mean, I realize asking Brock to string 5 words together is a stretch, but anyway. Going against WWE champion Daniel Bryan, who recently won the belt from AJ Styles by doing the ancient Greco-Roman move of kicking somebody in the nuts. The crowd was very... there were people still doing the whole yes chant thing because some people are sheep, but it was definitely not as loud as usual, and Brock got a larger reaction than normal. I think because, so many people want to string Daniel Bryan up by his beard for, screwing over AJ Styles. This started off as a what the fuck are you doing, Bryan match, because that's all I said for the first half of the match was just sitting there going, what the fuck are you doing? From mocking Lesnar to just basically having this smirk on his face that I wanted to slap off. And then Daniel Bryan got close enough to Brock Lesnar for Brock to get a hand on him, and then 2 hands, and then, oh, this was ugly. This was like Alien Autopsy ugly. Brock Lesnar basically threw Daniel Bryan all around the ring, pounded on him like a $2 steak, and just basically tore the man apart on worldwide television until there was a ref bump and Daniel Bryan kicked him in the groin, and all of a sudden, it's like Popeye eating his spinach, all of a sudden Daniel Bryan's got his mojo back. So apparently Daniel gets his mojo back by kicking guys in the groin. Okay, whatever, you be you. It still wound up, the inevitable happened with Brock Lesnar winning and defeating Daniel Bryan. But since this wasn't a belt versus belt match, it really didn't solve or prove anything other than the fact that Raw won again. So out of the all of the matches that we got, not including the pre-show, because apparently the pre-show doesn't count, the entire evening was won by Raw wrestlers. As to the whole, oh, that didn't count on the pre-show because we say it doesn't count. Well, you can say anything you want. I can say I'm Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. That doesn't make it accurate. So the WWE being all like, oh, well, that doesn't count because that was in the pre-show. Fuck off. SmackDown won it. Get over it. The other interesting, quote, thing that occurred during the pay-per-view was that there was someone in the audience that a lot of people were kind of surprised was there. Enzo Amore, former WWE wrestler and bounced from the company, was at the show in the crowd, being about as subtle as a firecracker in a convent, wearing a wig and also having a hoodie up and kind of scrunching down in his seat. During the start of the match with the Authors of Pain going against the Bar, enough people had noticed that was Enzo Amore, who said he'd never come back to wrestling, blah, blah, etc. He tore off the hoodie, tore off the wig, and jumped up on his chair, started dancing around. If you want to go there, call that dancing. You're being awfully kind. And starting to, basically be Enzo Amore. A loudmouth jerk. The WWE did not bother saying, oh wow, it's Enzo Amore, what's he doing here? Because he doesn't fucking work there anymore. He was, I don't know if pounced on is the right word to use, but we're going to go with it, pounced on, by security, and was taken out of the building and told he was not going to come back in the building. Probably under pain of arrest. It's amazing to me that he didn't get arrested in the first place. There's also some word out there that he had bumped into another fan, a lady, and that she had gotten either knocked over or knocked to the ground. I'm not really sure. And that she got hurt, or said she got hurt, or however, I don't really know. As far as from the updates I've seen, she was taken from her seat and she was checked out by some, the EMTs that were there, and she came back to her seat. She was wearing an ice pack. So, it's obviously that's not a fun thing, but at least it was a case of that she wasn't so hurt that they had to, take her from the building and take her to a hospital or something like that. And, so that's, a relief. I'm sure it's a relief to her and her family and whomever, and I hope she's okay, whoever she is. Unfortunately, she did have to come back and watch this show. Boy, there was so much wrong with this show. There were some great moments. There were some really great moments. The Rollins-Nakamura match, the Murphy versus Ali match, and there was some fun parts during all of the tag team stuff. The pissing stuff was not fun. That's juvenile. But, man, I don't get where they're going. I really don't get where they're going with things. And not only do I not get it, I don't like it at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'd love to know your opinion. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com if you'd like to send me your opinion of Survivor Series. Am I being unfair? Am I being too harsh? I don't know. I'd like to know, like I said, I would like to know what you think. So if you'd like to check out the other shows that I am part of on the interwebs and also our little family of crazies that make up our little internet family, you can check out Subject Cinema, which is a movie podcast that TC, my husband, and I have been doing for 10 plus years. Holy crap. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a crazy show, and we get pretty heated on there because we love movies a lot. And we also have Front Row 5 and 10. You can check that out. It's our list show. And if you have an idea for a list, definitely send it our way. If you are a Supernatural fan, or if you know someone who is a Supernatural fan, and if you're not a Supernatural fan, why the fuck aren't you? Because it's an awesome show. You can check out Platinum Rose's Garden, which is my Supernatural podcast, and give it a listen over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. There are other members of our little family, including, as I mentioned, my husband TC, who is the brains behind all of this madness and is the person that keeps me sane and stable, or tries to. And sometimes he actually succeeds. But he's also a computer whiz and super cool and a really nice guy. And he has his own shows, including Catastrophe Vortex, which is his disaster movie show because he is a disaster movie junkie. And if you're looking around for what movie to see, what movie to buy, and you're not sure, you can check out his mini shows, 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex, where he talks about movies that are coming out in the theaters, on demand, on Netflix, on, all things that are coming out, to buy or things like that. If you're starting to look for gifts for people, with the holidays coming up and all that. So you can check those out as well. There are other members of our little family, including the Lion family, Eric and Valerie, over at Cavebabble.com. There's some really great people. I hope you'll check them out. And you can check out Aunt B's Nerd Grotto over on YouTube, hosted by our buddy Anthony Lamberti, who is a great guy, knows a lot about comics, and is just a super fun dude. If you are of a more dramatic bent, I know I'm dramatically bent, you can check out 2 of the amateur productions that we all got involved with. These were done involving everybody in the Subject Cinema family. They were both complete labors of love, and I hope you will check them out. The first one we did was called Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened, which is our take on what else happened and what else was going on in New York City the night that something very big and extraordinarily pissed off rose up out of New York Harbor. It was done in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary of the film Cloverfield, and it's like I said, it's a real labor of love, and I hope you'll check it out. We also, this past Halloween, did our own spin on the H.G. Wells classic, The War of the Worlds. That was a lot of fun, too, and I hope you will check those out if you are so inclined. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at PlatinumRoselle at Twitter.com. And as I said, if you want to send me any messages, you can send them to PlatinumRoselle at Yahoo.com. I will definitely read them. So, that is going to wrap things up for this week. As I stated, I wish everybody who's listening a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And I hope that you get to spend lots of time with your families and loved ones, and also that you enjoy the meals that you have. And please take a moment to be grateful for the things that you have, because there's always going to be someone out there who doesn't have the things that you have, and just give them a moment's thought as well. Also, just real quick, I know a lot of people celebrate and, you get a little bit toasted and all that. If you're going to drink, please don't drive. If you're going to drink, please have someone in your group be a designated driver, or call a cab, or call Uber, or, call somebody. But whatever you do, please do not get behind the wheel if you are drunk, because we want you here for next Thanksgiving too. So, this is Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, signing off for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I'll check you out next time.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNRNetworks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.